So great you could be with us again. I am joined by Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a food and wine sommelier of the year. The group includes in Penn Quarter, the Partisan. In Old Town, you have Vermilion and Columbia Firehouse. We're at Church Key, where kegs are being delivered behind me, which is always a good thing. Greg, it is always good to see you.
You too, Brennan.
What's on tap this week?
This week we are very, very lucky to have a new beer from Brasserie de la Senne, one of my all-time favorite breweries in the world, helmed by one of my best friends in the beer business, Yvan de Batz from Brussels, de la Senne from Brussels. It's Yvan and his partner Bernard Labouc, and they've been making some of the best beers on the planet, well, since 2003. That's when they started, and then they did some brewing. They had a little brewery out in the Flemish countryside of Brussels, and then they moved into doing some brewing at De Ranke and De Proef, and then they opened their own brewery in 2010. They're currently in the process of opening a new brewery in Brussels, which is incredible. This beer is called Crianza, and Crianza 3, it's the third iteration. It is a Flemish red-brown sour ale.
Inviting nose. Oh, the big-time sour fans gotta love that.
It's just no fruit, nothing. You know, it's classic barley-based beer with hops and water and Saccharomyces ale yeast, but also different bacterias, including lactobacillus, which gives it the lemony tartness, and pediococcus, which gives it a little bit more of a rich acidity. It spent 12 months in oak barrels, where it picks up tannins and other microbial action from the yeasts and bacterias and possibly Brettanomyces that's in the wood. A spectacular sour red-brown beer, although I wouldn't say even sour. It's got a really nice, lush acidity to it. It's tart, you know.
12 months in oak barrels, but it's not oaky to me at all.
No.
Like not like an oaky Chardonnay
no.
at all.
No, they're probably using used French wine barrels, and you get dryness, you get a little tannins, but you're not getting layers of vanilla and coconut and all of that stuff. This is definitely more old world, and the vessels are just a great place for microorganisms, like I mentioned, to be happy and thrive and to turn their attention from the wood to the sugars of the beer during that long, slow maturation.
We were talking last week, Other Half Brewing, based in New York, but opening a place down here soon. I was just sort of wondering about a Belgian brewer opening a place in the U.S., but they'd probably be like, what are with all these? I mean, not all these regulations, but just different regulations than probably
they have
in
plenty
Belgium.
of their own. Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. But yeah, they'd have to figure that out. I mean, Yvan has been going through, and Bernard have been going through lots of bureaucratic obstacles in getting this new brewery open. But yeah, I think it's a difference of brewing interests and methodology. I mean, it's so funny is that today, in 2019 in American craft beer, a lot of what's hot is sweetness, you know, hazy IPAs that are not as bitter as they used to be. Fruited sours that are not funky and dry, they're more like sweet and sour, you know. Pastry stouts that taste like dessert in a glass with all sorts of adjuncts. What Brasserie de la Senne has long done, and if you go on their website and look at their mission statement, their philosophy, the thing that they prize above all else in beer is bitterness. They love good, not overwhelming bitterness, but drying bitterness, like in beers like Terrace Bulba and Zinnebeer. These are beers that are bone dry, refreshing. They love low alcohol beers as well. So if they were to open in America, I think they would be like very, very odd. But of course, you know, the Sovereign, our Belgian, our bar and restaurant dedicated to Belgian beer and food in Georgetown in Washington, D.C., was built to showcase brewers like De La Senne all the time.
What would you pair it with?
A beer with this, you know, so this beer is so amazing because it's got some dark fruit. There's hints of cherry and plum. There's a great acidity. It's got malt sweetness up front, little caramelization. it's wine-like in some ways, but much lower in alcohol, 7.4%. It still can take on things like steak, lamb, ribs, duck, game meats. But then I think it's just gonna be amazing with like just barbecue, like just brisket or short rib dishes, things like that. Indian curries work really nicely. You get the fruity, sweet and sour notes balanced against the spice of the curry, like that a lot. And then red sauce. The beautiful thing about sour red ales is they've got acidity that goes nicely with red sauce. So like whether it's, linguine and meatballs, a meatball sub, classic lasagna, this beer is going to be amazing with it.
I could see that with the like bolognese.
Oh, just great.
Dynamite. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another beer of the week.